everybody, how's it going? It is Sunday, October 24th, 2021. My name is Melissa, and this is my channel Geeky Witch about all things cross-stitch in my life. I did not get a video done yesterday because I kind of underestimated how tired a sleepover for my son would make me. I was just off yesterday, all day yesterday, so crawled in bed early, just didn't feel all that great. Our whole house didn't feel all that great, but I think it's just allergies right now. So yeah, I figure I'll take care of this today and go from there. Life goes on, right? I hope those of you who are doing the 24 hours of cross stitch this weekend, like I am, are having a good weekend. I haven't gotten as much stitching done as I'd hoped. I've done a lot of stitching, pulling it out, stitching, pulling the same thing out, and back and forth, back and forth. I don't know what was going on yesterday. It was part of the whole feeling all not that great, but I've made some progress, so I'm happy with that. Today's episode, I'm going to show you what I've been working on for this past week, with the exception of Witch's Wheel, which of course I finished on Friday, and I showed on Friday, so if you want to see that finished, pop back a video. So I've got two pieces to show you. Then after that, I'm going to show you the things that I purchased last weekend when my friends and I went up to a couple of shops last Saturday. And finally, I will do the unboxing of days 23 and 24 of the Black Needle Society trick-or-treat box. And of course, I will give you a spoiler warning before I open that, just in case you want to log off because you haven't opened yours. So let's get started, shall we? So last week, at the beginning of last week, I was finishing up my stitches for this Crystal Academy on Facebook, which was a Harry Potter style stitch challenge that had run for a while, and I was just wrapping up the last of my required stitches on one of the spells. This has really helped me on, okay, back up a little. I've decided that I really don't like counting stitches. I'm glad I tried it, but yeah, counting all of my stitches is not my thing. I want to just be able to stitch. So I probably am going to avoid most of the challenges going forward that involve counting stitches because it's just kind of a pain in the butt. If I can kind of mix, mosquito. If I can mix between, you know, things that I'm counting and things I'm not counting, then I'm fine, but yeah. Anyway, so this is Alphabits by Wild Heart Designs. I'm not going to show the photo of it from the cover of the chart because it's tiny and you won't be able to see it on screen anyway. But you're going to get a general idea of how this looks anyway because I'm pretty far along on it. So the way this piece works is that it's a long band sampler and it's an uppercase, lowercase letter in full cross and then a specialty stitch line between, and every specialty stitch is different as you move your way through. I'm stitching this on 27 count banding from Zweigart. I bought it at Needleworkers Delight in New Jersey probably about 5 years ago now, and it's kind of a weird weave to work on. It's a little loose, but I mean the results are great, so I can't complain. I'm stitching this with a thread called Cherry Coffee. I also have one called Cherry Cola, so I always trip over that. Cherry Coffee is by Nina's Threads. She has an Etsy shop and she is out of Budapest, Hungary. It's a really pretty thread that goes from like a light brown into a light pink and then a dark pink and, you know, rotates all between. So this is all one thread color, so to speak. So I started this year, I had the C done and I was beginning the D. So this will give you a sense of how much I've gotten done this year. And I am working on this for the Semi-Sane Stitchers Alpha My Bet this year as well. And that's going to be, it's a year-long challenge to do one letter every other week. And the theory is that, of course, if you keep up, then you're going to be done by the end of the year. And I was like, hey, this is perfect. I maybe can get this thing done this year. So this is how all of these letters look. The letters are stitched 2 threads over 2, and then the specialty stitches are all using 1 thread with, you know, however many holes over it counts. So, but I'm really happy with how this is turning out. Really, really, really happy. Okay, so here is where I've ended off at Q. So this week I finished off this chicken foot, which is, it's kind of hard to get it into frame, but it literally is just like a little chicken foot, and then the Q's. So I'm probably about 2 months behind at this point, maybe 3, but this stitch is really, really fast. So I'm going to be bringing this with me in a couple of weeks to a retreat I'm going to up in Troy, New Hampshire, at the East Hill Farm. There's several people going, and some of them are FlossTubers, some of them are not, so you may run into other people talking about this retreat. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going Thursday through Sunday, so I'm going to have a blast, and I'm hoping to get through, at least be within like a couple of weeks behind, or I may just push for a while. But there's one other piece I'm bringing with me. So that's Alphabits for Alpha My Bed. And the other piece I've been working on, and this is what I've focused on this weekend, is the Linen and Thread 2020 Mystery Sampler. I nickname it, and they kind of nicknamed it, Quaker Mystery. It's a friends and family mystery. So between some of these motifs, there will be initials eventually of members of my family and my friends. I am still on January from last year. I fell behind, and then of course COVID happening. So I never got that far on this piece, and it kind of just got put away for a while, but gonna work on it now. Friday, what day are we of the week? Friday night, I did the browns here in this motif, and the red here, and then this brown and red here. Yesterday, I began working on this butterfly, and the butterfly yesterday was my nemesis. I kid you not, I ripped out this bottom wing like 5 times. I don't know what happened to me. I just could not count to save my life. I had it too long, then I had it too short, then I was crossing. I finally said, screw it, I'm putting it this way so it looks like a butterfly upright. Well, that's great, except for that I started stitching my crosses the wrong way. I've been stitching for 35 years. You'd think I'd know how to cross my stitches by now. Anyway, it's getting there. So this is the way it's supposed to go. I have one more motif that will go on here after I finish this wing to finish off January. And then I have February to do. And I'm going to be, this was one of my Whip Go projects in, I want to say it was in August, Whip Go. So I'm going to do my Whip Go stitches, and I'm getting 1,000 stitches on this before I put it down. That's going to happen. Excuse me. So yeah, this is where I'm at on this one right now. I am stitching this on 46 count linen from Silkweaver in Toasted Almond, and it is stitched in 1 thread of DMC over 2 holes. The color, they're just colors that I grabbed out of my stash. The original pattern is just a solid stitch block, so it really was completely up to you what you wanted to do for colors. I decided to go on muted jewel tone, and I'm really happy with how my colors are turning out. So that's that, and I'll be working on that later today once I get some errands done. I will not get 24 hours of cross stitching in this weekend. It's the weekend before Halloween. It's too busy. So, but I'll get stitching in, and that's what matters, right? Every cross counts. So that's my progress for the week. Now let's move on to stash purchases. As I mentioned really briefly last weekend, I went to two different a cross stitch shop and a quilting shop last weekend, both in Massachusetts and both relatively close to each other. The first one was The World in Stitches up in Littleton, Mass. Randy, the owner, I've known casually for about 3 years now, maybe 4 years. She's been up at one of the retreats that I love to go to, which is called Stitches Hideaway. And she sets up, a boutique shop there for us while we're at the retreat, which is awesome. I'd never been to her actual shop until last weekend. Several of my friends have gone up there before, but I just haven't had the time. And you kind of need to plan a little bit more to get up there because from where we live, it's about a little over an hour to get up there. So, not a super long drive, but you still need to plan in some driving time. So, while we were there, let me move my stuff here because I got kind of scattered here. I bought needles because I needed needles. I got 2 packs of Bowen 28s and 1 pack of the Pat's Favorite Needles in 28. I prefer the Bowens. Oh, there they are. I do prefer the Bowens over the Pat's needles, but they're not all that different. The one thing that is noticeable is the Pat's needles are more expensive by quite a bit. A 6-pack of the Bowens is $3.25, and the Pat's needles, I only get 3 of them for $4.20. So there's a difference in price, but quality-wise, I like the Bowens a little bit better. So then I've got charts. These are all new things that have come out recently, I think between Expo and probably, has there been another one? I don't know, I've lost track. I barely know what day it is anymore. Anyway, so I'll show you what I got. This is from Tiny Modernist. It's called the Moon Phase Bell Pull. And when I picked it up, I was like, oh, what's worse than stitching white on white? Let's do some black on black. So this is not like just shading here. We have trees. We have a border that's black on black that runs all the way through. I am not planning on stitching this in black. I am planning on finding another piece out of my stash. If it's big enough, I have a cut of a really beautiful purple that I'm thinking that I'll do, or maybe like a midnight blue. This might even be one that'll be pretty cool if I have some of that opalescent fabric, have a little sparkle in there, since it is moons and stars and whatnot. But yeah, I thought it was really cool. Have no idea when I'll stitch it, but it was one of those things like, this is going to be a little harder to find. I'm going to grab it while I can. Next is Autumn Lane Stitchery Midnight Brew. I love this pattern. There were 3 different Autumn Lane Stitchery patterns that were all Halloween themed there, and I was having a hard time deciding between them. So I finally decided I would do this one because it just spoke to me a little bit more. Already have the fabric figured out that I want to do this with, and it's primarily in DMC 310. So I've got the Cone of Doom ready to go of 310, and it needs some light effects floss, which I don't think I've ever used it. Rainbow Gallery, which I have. So there's that one. Then I have 3 patterns from Silver Creek Samplers. The first is follow your heart, but take your stitching with you. Always a good rule. I love the chart. I will probably be changing the colors a little bit just to, I think this is one of those great pieces to go through stash and stuff that I would like to use up in my stash that's been sitting there. So that's that one. Then I have Hissed Off, also cute, and with the exception of the cat, since there's the shading on there, the rest of it I think I also could play around a little bit with the colors and grab stuff from stash. But I thought this was very fitting considering, you know, my household. And finally, I have the Wicked Stitcher Society, which I absolutely adore, that she's like just sitting cross-legged on her yoga mat with her hoop in her lap, and it's very, very me. So, have that one. And then the last two charts, I remember parts of this series coming out earlier this year, and I thought they were really pretty, but they weren't like screaming at me. These two I'm assuming we're about done with the whole series for the year. These guys scream at me that it's like, oh my god, these are absolutely gorgeous. So maybe it's just I'm an autumn stitcher. I don't know. But I absolutely adore both of them. These are both by Cottage Garden. This is Gathering Acorns. Isn't that cute? I absolutely love that squirrel. There's that one. And then this was the one that really caught my eye. The October 31st. It is absolutely striking. It's one of those patterns that I saw, it was like, oh, that's mine. Just like immediately grabbed it. No questions asked. Absolutely love it. So that will be probably going into the whip pile very soon after the new year. Because, yeah, I want that one done. And I cannot wait to see this one stitched. So in addition to that, I also bought one skein of floss, Classic Colorworks Chesapeake Bay. It is not, I don't think it's called for color on this. No. I bought this because it's the one overdyed floss that was missing from my Coming to New England, or Coming to America, the Women of the Mayflower chart from last year. And I had pulled a blue from stash, and it wasn't, I thought it would be good, but it was way too dark. As I started stitching the Union Jack, I'm like, I don't think this is right. So when I saw this at Randy's, I had to grab it. It'll be nice to have it in the charted for color, which I think will be far better than what I tried to sub with it. And I only have to pull out like maybe 16 stitches, so really not that big of a deal to do a do-over. So after we left Littleton, we started our way home, and we, about 3 exits south of where the World in Stitches is a quilting shop called the Quilted Crow. I have heard about this shop for years from various friends who either cross-stitch or quilt or both, or just love going to craft-related stores. It is an absolutely stunning quilt shop in Bolton, Mass. If you're up in the Massachusetts area, it's probably about an hour and a half outside of Boston, depending on the traffic, out on the Massachusetts Turnpike. Definitely worth a trip if you're doing a New England general trip, and had a great time. If I were a quilter, I would be in so much trouble in this shop. Thankfully, since I don't quilt or don't use a sewing machine, I can kind of keep myself in check a little bit better, but it just was stunning. So I did buy a few. They had a scrap table where you could just pick up scraps. So I bought some of those because they looked like they would be great for doing, you know, backing ornaments and finishing fabrics and whatnot. Always good to have a stash of little pieces like that. But then I also went and bought trinkets because you always need more gadgets in your stash, correct? So first off, I bought one of their supply bags, Quilted Crow. And on the back, I'm Crow Social. It's one of those really nice, heavy canvas ones, just like you would get, you know, like the canvas beach bag or shopping bag. I figure this will be a really nice one for smalls, keep ornament projects in. And then I bought what literally was labeled as the thingy picker upper. And this, it has a logo of Max Force posted on the handle. And this is a pull-out magnetic wand to get your needles that fall on the floor. And it also has an LED light so you can see the sparkle of it if it's in like a groove of the floor or on dark fabric. So, isn't that cool? Only cost me about 12 bucks and very handy to keep in the gadget holder. So that was my shopping last weekend. It was a good shopping trip. I hope to get up there again soon. I'll see Randy at the retreat in a couple of weeks, which will be awesome. Hopefully I won't spend too much money, but you never can tell. So now, if you're someone who has not opened days 23 or 24 from the Black Needle Society trick-or-treat box, this is where I will say goodbye to you for the day. Take care. And for those of you who are continuing with me, let's do some opening. So, based on the containers, I think we're going back into project. There were 4 projects that were going to be in this box, and we've opened up 3. So this looks very fabric-y, and this looks very flossy. So we have day 23 with Frankenstein on the back. I continue to love these bags. It is fabric. It is 18 count Aida, hand dyed, called Hazelwood, from Fiber on a Whim. This is the softest piece of Aida I've ever felt. Very nice. I am so used to the big box store cardboard, like overstarched to within an inch of its life Aida. So to have any Aida that's soft is kind of surreal to me. This is a really pretty color. That's a really nice neutral. It kind of reminds me of Wren from, is it Wren? I think it's Wren. Yeah, very, very nice. Okay, so that's the fabric. Excuse me. And that says Hazelwood 18 count Aida by Fiber on a Whim, called for by the designer, fabric for your 4th kitted Halloween project. And day 24 is most definitely floss. We have a big wad of DMC. Let me try to splay these out here a little bit. A very earthy, autumny tone. Very pretty. Ooh, it's got some of the new colors in it. I see 03. I haven't stitched with any of the new colors yet. So 03, 02. Some big cone of doom. Cool. It'll be interesting to see what the pattern is tomorrow then. So we have those. And Thread Pack by DMC, called for by the designer. Fibers for your 4th kitted Halloween project. So there we go. Which leads me to believe that tomorrow, of course, will be a chart. That'll be fun. Alrighty. Well, that is all I have for today. So take care, everybody. Have a lovely rest of the day stitching if you are stitching this Sunday. And I will see you again sometime tomorrow. Take care. Bye.